Plenty to chat about here at Warwick Farm for Trackwork this morning. Of course, the Tancred Stakes and the Vinery Stakes headline the program. We're on Weather Watch a little bit later on this week, where horses will head. We have all the latest from Warwick Farm. Nice balmy morning out here for Trackwork today, Gaz. So you've got the shorts on as always, although I think you'd have the shorts on in the depths of winter as well.
Yeah, coming from Orange, we're a bit more conditioned to colder days, but it has been a longer sort of summer, and the weather's beautiful, isn't it?
Indian summer until we head to the weekend when it's meant to rain. As we look now to, let's touch on actually Verona Rose in the Vinery first of all. She was a huge run in the Kembla Grange Classic, the winner there. It was a bunch finish, but she just jumped out of the ground.
Yeah, the last furlong was pretty good, wasn't it? She got back, settled beautifully, and then when Kieran asked her for an effort, there was plenty of horse there. We've been really excited about getting her out the 2,000 metres. It's going to be a good test this weekend. The filly from Melbourne's going to be very hard to beat. She doesn't know how to get beat, so a big test, but we're hoping that every time we put the bar up to this filly, she's been able to sort of just jump it, and obviously this filly has got to get around the Sydney way, so we're hoping that's a negative for her. Looking for any negative we can take, but obviously the favourite's going to be very hard to beat. But the way my filly worked this morning, she's going to be in the finish.
And of course, being by Castelvecchio, you'd expect her to eat up the 2,000?
2,000 won't be a problem. Her pedigree's just littered with 2,000, 3,000 metre horses through a dandelion, so that cross was always going to work over a bit of ground.
Pretty exciting looking ahead then. And of course, NCAP, my mate NCAP, and possibly Flying Trapeze in the Doncaster Prelude. You will make a decision though with Flying Trapeze, you'd mentioned to me. Coming out of the Canterbury Stakes, is NCAP, he was a good run there.
Yeah, look, he was all set to go last weekend. We decided not to run. He galloped this morning. Nashua came out and gave him a gallop this morning. God, it was a solid gallop. It was a really good workout. And he pulled up like he hadn't been out there. So Nash is on him Saturday. I'm looking forward to seeing him run well, hopefully win, and then back up into the Donny.
We talked about him quite a bit. He can be a bit of a quirky horse. He's quite a larrikin around the stables. What's he like when he's working at home? Does he always put in an effort?
Yeah, look, he switches off. He's a very easy horse to ride. Nash was actually quite surprised. He'd never ridden him track work before. He settled in behind one, and then he straightened up, asked for a horse, and he had plenty there, and he put his neck in front of the horse on the line, and it was a really good workout. I think they broke it. I worked him on the poly today, and they broke 11 the last furlong under a hold, so he's going well.
And what are you thinking with Flying Trapeze? Which way will you head with him back from Melbourne now?
He's nominated for both the 88 benchmark race. He's nominated for the Muswellbrook Cup. It's come up pretty tough, big field too. So we're thinking we're just going to keep an eye on the sky too. He's hopeless when it gets wet, but we're thinking either between the Doncaster Prelude and the 88 benchmark 1400, one of the two. He's come back from Group 1 company.
Certainly is, that's right. I mean, you got to be in it to win it, Gaz.
Yeah, exactly. He picked up 40,000 for a trip to Melbourne, so I wish I could get 40,000 every time I flew down to Melbourne. But he's won 880,000 now. He's been a great little horse to his syndicate. They love him to death, but he's a little bit hard to place. His benchmark's quite high, and he goes to Brisbane, very competitive in Brisbane. Unfortunately, it's wet up there, so he won't go there. But it's first grade down here, no matter which. An 88 benchmark versus a stakes race. There's not much between the horses, to tell you the truth. It's tough racing in Sydney.
SF, they say, SF.
It is Sydney form, baby.
All right, let's touch on the midway now. Actually, we're talking about Sumo Star and Tenderize as they trotted past us. They've just worked together this morning, have they? Yeah,
both horses just worked brilliantly. Both horses will run on Saturday. If it is wet, brings both horses into the race, in particular Tenderize, who has just hit a new form reference, I'd say. He's jumping better, he's putting himself into the race, and he's been hard to run down. Last week he raced at Rose Hill and probably just didn't get away on the corner like he usually does. I think our jockey, what's his name, Knock, he just didn't ride the horse. He rode the track, not the horse, and this horse, he likes to bust him up from the turn, and he actually said, I hadn't ridden it much at Rose Hill before, and it's a long straight, I suppose, but I think if he gets away and puts a brake on them coming the corner, he holds that speed, and that's the way we'd like to ride him on the weekend, sort of tear-away type of tactics. And with those big Sumo, you don't know where he's going to be basically on how he comes to the gates, but more than likely back. If they go too hard up front and something attacks us, well, look for Sumo getting home. So, both horses in good order.
And then just an update on Komochi and how she is heading towards a TJ.
Komochi's in great order. The 4 weeks between runs is going to be absolutely superb for her. The temptation was there to run her in the Galaxy or the William Reid, but if you look at her form previously, she's always won or been placed first up, and then her second up run she gets beat a length and just doesn't quite get through the line. So I decided to just give her the chance to get through that first up run. Last preparation we did that. We gave her a month between runs. She ran fourth on the Manicados, and that was probably a personal best at that time. So we've followed that form, go to TJ, all age stakes, and head up to Brisbane, see if we can pick up a race up there. But she's in great order.
The way she closed off in that Manicado was enormous now, thinking back to it.
Yeah, she was in all sorts of trouble getting around the corners, and that was another reason why I probably didn't want to go to the William Reid as well. She'd never travelled, but the last furlong she was getting a line better than anyone. So, that was it beat 2 lengths in a Group 1, second up after a month between runs. So we're hoping that we see her at Warwick, the track that she does love. That's Group 1. That TJ would be lovely to win. I've run second a couple of times, so it's about time we got the win, and she's good enough, I believe.
And particularly with her, it would mean a lot to you.
Yeah, exactly. She's a stable favourite. You can't go past her without giving her a pat. She calls you over and she gives you a cuddle every time you see her, so she's very much loved in our camp.
Okay, Björn, let's just start with an update on Within the Law. I know the stable's put out quite a lot of information about her, but how is she today?
Yeah, she seems fine, and she only had one little cut on her back leg, thankfully, so it was relief as much as anything, and thankfully horse and rider are okay. That's what counts.
That's the main thing. It's always a hold your breath moment when those things happen, but I know she's been a remarkable filly all preparation, so it must have been nice to have her home that night.
Yeah, for sure, and it was actually very happy that she came out of it okay. Initially it looked bad, and I wasn't out the front, so I didn't see her sort of gallop past, so very, very grateful she's okay.
And Arapaho you've got in the Tancred as we look then ahead to the weekend. Rachel King back aboard. She was aboard him last start. She's just got an affiliation with this guy. Obviously we saw that when he ran a really bold second last start. Yeah,
I think he's going great, and his work this morning was excellent. He won the Tancred 2 years ago, so he's going back to a place that he's performed very well, and I think he's going better than ever. His work suggests that. Rachel rides him again. There's a bit of rain forecast possibly over the weekend, which he sort of tends to go on any track, so from that point of view we're definitely fit, up and going, so I think he goes in a very much a big chance.
Quite an ambiguous amount of rain, 7 to 50 mils the Bomber suggesting at this stage.
Yeah, and you look at different websites and they have, they're on a different page completely, so we'll see what happens.
And Rach galloped in this morning?
Yeah, very happy with them, so she was in Bryden early.
All right. Let's look then to Sandpaper, who you've got in the Doncaster Prelude. He was a last start winner. How's he going?
He's going super, actually. His work this morning was great. I'm not sure about him on a wet track, but he is still in the Doncasters. You have to sort of hope. And his last one in the Newcastle Stakes was very, very good. So he's been a horse that really has been a bit of a revelation since he's been in. He's been very consistent, run well, and his work suggests he's going better than ever.
Which way are you leaning with Deal and Dash? Will he maybe take his spot in the Tulloch?
Yeah, he's got two options, either Tulloch or a Class 1 at Wyong on Saturday. So either or, we're happy with him. Of course, he didn't fire it all last time at Canberra, and maybe if there is a bit of rain, he will appreciate that as well.
She's an A-lister, was a massive eye-catcher. Obviously, she was coming back off cardiac arrhythmia. I think she ran the fastest last 200 of the meeting. Which way will you lean with her now?
Yeah, she just didn't probably get the breaks when she needed them on Saturday, but she's going very well. We'll give her 3 weeks between runs and go to the Sapphire Stakes on the second day of the Championships. 1,200 fillies and mares. I think that will suit really well for her.
And how is Stradivarina ticking along since her run in the Magic Night? She's going either for a Percy Sykes, you mentioned?
She had her first gallop this morning, was very happy with her. She definitely hasn't lost anything, and she looks good too. So she's really 2 options for her, either the Kindergarten Stakes or the Percy Sykes. Both will be tough races and both through the championship. So we'll just see how she goes in between and maybe have a good look at both.
Speaking of Arapaho, I think it was this time 2 years ago then that we came here the morning and you brought the prawns and the champagne, and I was waiting for prawns and champagne today for Gringotts, and Kieran hasn't stumped up.
No, I'm sure he will at some stage. No, hopefully we can get a few prawns and champagne up here. That's very important.
As is tradition. We'll have to come back for that next week. Thanks, Ben.
Brilliant. Yeah, I hope so. Thanks.
Well, we're all somewhat on weather watch at this stage. We've just been discussing whether we'll get 7 mils, whether we'll get 50 mils on Saturday, but should it rain for Kathir Lilly, she might enjoy that in the vinery.
Yeah, she might. She's got a nomination with weighing up whether to look at there. Obviously the favourite looks very hard to beat, or whether we wait for the Adrian Knox. But yeah, if the rain came, then it would certainly suit her.
Let's talk about the Tulloch then, and you do have 3 nommed, but you're looking towards Black Babylon and Firm Agreement. Firm Agreement was good in the Randwick Guineas.
Yeah, he was just ran off his feet a little. Obviously they went a very good tempo that day, and he was just probably at his top the whole way, so it was hard for him to find off that. But he was obviously, last preparation he was great, running 3rd in the Spring Champion, so up to the 2000 is going to suit. And although I don't think he's raced much on rain affected ground, his trials have been good and all of his work suggests given the track will suit. So hoping for his sake we get a soft track. But I think originally we'd planned to go to the Rosehill Guineas, and we thought we'd opt to head here instead. Slightly softer option for him, but looking forward to getting him up in distance.
And Black Babylon, 3rd up now, coming off a run at Canberra.
Yeah, he's still a maiden, so we've actually got him in at Wyong as well. But he's been racing around horses that are also heading to the race, and he's always been a horse. He's already looking for the 1.5 miles, so even the 2000 this weekend is going to be a bit short for him. But we've always hoped he might be a Derby prospect, and he's another one. Hasn't had soft ground, but he's got a real soft ground action on him. So would love to get a bit of rain around for him as well. And Tom Marquand's booked for him, and I think he's the sort of horse that you love to break your maiden in a Group 2, but he's the sort of horse I think we'll see a big improvement from this weekend.
In the Neville Selwood, you do have Gear Up, Redstone Well and Bois d'Argent all nommed. Are they likely to take their place?
Yeah, all 3 head there. Bois d'Argent, he was brilliant behind Pride of Jenny and Zardozi, first up in the Peter Young. Didn't expect to see Bois d'Argent. He actually led Pride of Jenny for about 100 metres. But he's come up to Sydney in great order, and 2,000 metres, we've obviously seen him win a Group 1 over that sort of trip, and he looks great. His work was very good this morning, so looking forward to getting him back to the races. Gear Up I thought was terrific. A little bit luckless. I'm not sure he would have won the Canberra Cup, but he just got held up momentarily in the straight, and it probably cost him a length or 2. So he's another horse that'll improve again. He's got nice form lines, sort of start of last prep. He always goes well. His first couple of runs are always his best runs. So I think he should run a cheeky race on Saturday. And Redstone Well, he's racing. He's another one coming out of the Canberra Cup. He's racing really well. He's Mr. Consistent. He's a bit ground dependent. He likes quick ground, but he's a very honest horse.
Of your 3 in the Doncaster Prelude, could we see West of Africa, Jimi Hendrix, who would be first up, or Sabak?
Yeah, all 3 will probably accept. They're also all in the Musselbrook Cup the day before as well. West of Africa's, he's flying. It was a big run in the Ajax, around 3rd that day. He was just back off it was just impossible where he was to probably get into the race, but he rattled home in good sectionals. So love to see him put himself in the race a bit more. Hard to spot them as far off as he often does, but he's going very well. Sabak, he was brilliant first up. We've saved him for this. He drew wide last week. And Jimi Hendrix first up. He's probably more likely to go to the Musselbrook Cup.
And then in the Baillieu, you've got 2 runners, so Tupakara and Next Gen. Let's talk about Next Gen and the story behind this 2-year-old filly by Ole Kirk. So the name is, as it suggests, the Next Gen, so it's a younger group of owners, right? Yeah,
Alex Turpin, part of our team, she put together a syndicate. We bought her for 30,000 at the classic sale, so we thought that lower price point we were hoping might attract in a younger crowd, the next generation, hence the name Next Gen. And she won the Paul Perry 2-year-old race first up over the 1300 and looked very impressive that day. She ran home in really good sectionals as well, so she's an exciting horse, and I'd expect to see a lot of a young crowd in the mounting yard come Saturday.
Could be scenes there. And then you've got Tupakara as well coming out of the Riesling. She was one of the fillies I saw at the early 2-year-old trials. She's by Trapeze Artist. Has she taken that natural improvement that the Trapeze Artist seem to each preparation?
Yeah, I think she has, and I think whatever she's doing now is still a bonus. I think she's going to be better again next year, sort of over a mile. But that run in the Riesling was really good. Obviously the form lines around that are good as well. So looking forward to getting her up in distance as well. I think the 3 weeks between runs probably suits her. She's still quite a light framed filly. A lot of these 2-year-old races, as you know, come down to barriers, but if she can draw a gate, she'll be in this sort of race up to her ears.
And then in the Star Kingdom, Ostraka back from Melbourne coming up from the straight down the Newmarket.
Yeah, he drew the outside gate in the Oakley Plate and then just raced a bit fierce. He ended up sort of leading the Newmarket, raced a bit fierce. So he hasn't had a whole lot of, nothing's really gone necessarily to plan the first 2 runs. He then drew the outside gate in the Galaxy, so we opted to wait for this weekend. His work was super this morning. He's going really well. He just needs a gate. If he can draw a soft gate, he's got brilliant gate speed, and third up he's ready to peak.
Okay, Amy, you're out here solo today, so we get to have a chat to you. Now, I came here this morning not just to talk to you, but also for the prawns and the champagne. So if I missed the morning with Gringotts winning the Group 1...
Yeah, sorry, Ali, I missed the boat there. I'll have to get them organised for later in the week. How are you fixed Friday morning, maybe?
I might have to come back. So as is tradition when you win a Group 1 at Warwick Farm, that's generally the tradition to get the champagne and the prawns out, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. The prawns from the finest fish shop in Maroubra. So yeah, I'll have to go and organise them on Thursday evening, have them out here Friday morning.
Might have to help you out. My local is Maroubra, so I might be able to help you there. Let's talk about Gringotts. That was a fantastic win on the weekend. How's he come through that?
Yeah, he's come through pretty well. He's an amazing horse to have around. He can fit in anywhere, and you can do whatever you please with him. So he's gone back to Bong Bong since the weekend, and he's just having a quiet couple of days down there. He's done most of his work, this preparation up at Bob's Farm, the beach facility, and he enjoys Warwick Farm as well. So as I said, he's very versatile. You can place him anywhere, and yeah, it was just unbelievable to see him get his Group 1 on Saturday.
And that's something that you guys do a lot of. They might have a couple of days in the paddock at Bong Bong and just a change of scenery.
Absolutely, yeah. We try and do it with all our runners. They generally come in here, they race, and then head back out to Bong Bong and get a couple of quiet days in the paddock, and then they can alternate them between the water walker, chamber, and just it aids their recovery unbelievably.
We do have a very busy week. Of course, you've got Pride of Jenny galloping down in Melbourne this morning, so Kieran's there. Then Joe's at Bong Bong. You're here holding up the fort. Let's talk about the Tancred. Duke de Sessa and Circle of Fire, both nommed. Duke de Sessa, of course, coming off a run behind Middle Earth at Flemington. He was brave to the line there over 2,000. How's he?
Yeah, he's great. He's been here since the end of last week, so he did his last piece of work yesterday. Very pleased with that. He's gone to Botany Beach this morning for a little wade in the water. Good recovery again, but yeah, couldn't have been happier with his work yesterday. And those 2 runs he's had in Melbourne this time in over a mile in 2000 were, pretty phenomenal, and we're getting up to a more suitable distance for him now on Saturday. So yeah, looking forward to seeing him.
Does he love getting out there to the beach?
Loves it, absolutely loves it. So he goes quite regularly in Melbourne. This will be his first morning in Sydney, but yeah, I think he'll enjoy it.
Look out. And then Circle of Fire coming out of a run most recently here in Sydney at Rosehill in the Sky High.
Yeah, absolutely. He's had 2 runs again over unsuitable trips, and both have been solid runs, doing his best work late, so he's getting up to a more suitable trip now, but the further the better. So yeah, looking forward to seeing him hit the line again.
Now in the Vinery you do have a filly, of course a 3-year-old filly called Miss Alexis by Dundeel out of Jamaica, nommed. It's probably hard for you to talk too much about her given that we've only seen her in Victoria thus far, and most recently she was a winner over the mile there at Sandown, but she is booked to come up to Sydney?
Yeah, at this stage she will travel up middle of this week, so yeah, we'll just see how she travels up before making any decisions there.
And a daughter of Jamaica, all eyes would no doubt be on her.
For sure, yeah. No, they're big fans of her in Melbourne, so looking forward to having her up here at Warwick Farm.
What about Zarakim, a really interesting runner you've got nommed for the Neville Selwood? He's a 5-year-old Entire, and we saw him on debut here in Australia in the Very Elegant. He is one that will probably enjoy the forecast.
For sure, yeah. Look, we've been really looking forward to getting him on a track with some give in it, and given the forecast at the moment with a lot of rain around, we're expecting to see a hugely improved performance from him. He just never let down first up in the Very Elegant. It was a very firm track that day. He will appreciate the give, and he's an exciting horse, and I think once he does get his preferred track we will see a very, very nice horse. He's got some good form around him behind Augusta Rodin in France, so yeah, very much looking forward to him.
Big names there. Just lastly, you do have the Muswellbrook Gold Cup, which is a big dance eligibility cup as well, which you've obviously had a lot of success in the past. Glory Days and Berkshire Shadow, could we possibly see either of them there? Glory Days resuming?
Yeah, possibly. He would prefer a wet track. Berkshire Shadow maybe not so much, so it will be weather dependent for both of those.
Glint of Silver, what are you thinking? Doncaster Prelude, or you've also got him nommed for that benchmark 88? Where are you leaning?
I'd like to go to Doncaster Prelude. I think 1500 Rose Hill, third up, is going to suit him really well. A lot of noms in the race, a lot of noms everywhere else. So I'll accept them both, probably both races, Prelude and the benchmark 88, but preference go to the Prelude. The weather's probably going to be the concerning factor at this stage.
So with that being said, if we do get a lot of rain this week, will you wait with him?
Most likely, we'll just have to summarise that Saturday morning and see how it pans out. But because there's so many horses nominated for Muswellbrook Cup and the Prelude, there's a lot of people who have to make the same decisions.
Everything's a bit up in the air at the moment, but you've got to be happy with how he is this preparation.
I think coming third up off a long break, I think we're going to see close to his best. But the horse is in great order, looks well, and his 2 runs to date so far have been good.
What about Winchat? When do we see him again?
Winchat's trialling Friday at Remick, so it'd be nice to see him get back going again. I want to look at something through that Scone Carnival. I think it'll suit him really well.
I like it. We'll have to keep an eye out. What about Call Me Mighty, who you've got nommed there for a midway on Saturday? He's had a tick-over trial.
Yeah, he trialled Friday. There's 2 options for him. Obviously, weather pending too. We'll look at Wyong or a Monday week at Nowra.
All right, Joe. Wolf, I thought he was great on the weekend. What, are you going to back him up this week?
Yeah, look, every possibility. So we'll be accepting on Wednesday, and the idea behind it, I know it might seem funny when you see him nominated for the Doncaster and the Doncaster being such a rich race, but it's giving him the best possible chance to win the Queen Elizabeth. I just believe running 2 weeks out would be better. Looking at the history of the race and looking at your horse and looking at the history of 2 different things, but looking at the history of the race, only one horse has ever won on the back up in the last 20 years. I think his best chance to win that Queen Elizabeth would be to have 2 weeks between runs, hence he has to run this Saturday. Really happy with the horse. Don't think it was a hard run for him at all the other day. He was once again caught up on the inside, just a dash home, but looking forward to seeing him out to 2,000 metres, and possibility of a wet track doesn't bother me either.
And I reckon he's going so well this prep, and credit to him, he had that setback, he went back to 1,300, hit the line well and was 5th. There on Thursday, on Saturday he closed off well and was 3rd. He's right on track.
Yeah, he is. He's speaking to the wrong person though, because I'm king of the fan club of Trackwork, I can tell you.
I think I'm number 2 in line.
Love this horse, and he really does, and understanding him better each preparation, he really does take a while to get to his peak. He's one of those horses that needs racing, and he's had that, and also the reason why I don't want to go 3 weeks into the Queen Elizabeth with like Chris is doing with Via Sistina. Every horse is different. We know our horses. He's a horse who needs racing. This race will bring him to his peak, and looking forward to the Queen Elizabeth.
Well, outside of then him, of course, in the Neville Selwood Star Kingdom, you've got Coal Crusher second up, Will Darrigan Stone back up, and then you've got Mazu, who you waited for the rain.
Yep, the 3 boys will all go round. They're all good on the wet, and all very capable horses, so a good hand in what looks to be a very open race.
And then Lekvart, we see her second up now. How's she been?
She's been great. She's won if there's a lot of rain on Saturday. She's definitely disadvantaged, but she needs to go around because we've got to get her ready for the Queen of the Turf. So she'll definitely go around, but not to her advantage if it was a heavy track. Slow's no problem. Soft is no problem. So we don't call them slow anymore, do we?
Well, I mean, in New Zealand, I think they do, don't they?
Yeah, slow was meant to be. It was thought to be a detrimental term, wasn't it? And dead as well. Oh, dead. And we call horses dead. Yeah, dead doesn't sound very good. Yeah,
probably slow we can get away with though. And what about you girls? They were good on the weekend. Bridgetine Gal and Sounds of Heaven.
Really happy with them. So Bridgetine Gal will go for the Carbine Club. It's going to bring her back and trip and get her to a mile. Get her back to a mile. And Sounds of Heaven's good. She was excellent the other day, so that was a nice turnaround in form for her, and she'll be looking at the Queen of the Turf as well.